For hundreds of years, people in the American South told a crazy lie that slaves were actually happy. It was a massive lie to make themselves feel better about a horrible system. But in 1831, one guy, a preacher, completely destroyed that lie with a Bible and a sword. He thought God had picked him to free his people, and what he did next was start the single deadliest slave revolt in American history. Was he a hero or a total maniac? Today we're finding out the insane true story of Nat Turner and the rebellion that changed America forever. To understand how insane this gets, you have to see where Nat Turner came from. He was born a slave in Virginia in 1800. His mom was a slave, and nobody even knows who his dad was because the system was designed to just break families apart. But Nat was different from day one. He was crazy smart, and people said he remembered things that happened before he was even born. And get this, in a time when it was illegal for slaves to read, Nat learned how. This was a total game changer because it let him read the Bible. He spent all his time fasting, praying, and reading the Bible. But he didn't just read it, he started preaching it, and he was so good that other slaves started calling him the prophet. His influence was getting huge. And then things get even crazier. He started having these insane visions that he thought were messages from God. He saw a massive bloody fight between black and white spirits. By 1828, he was 100% convinced God had chosen him for a huge mission. This dude was so sure of it that he actually escaped slavery once. But then a vision told him to go back. He believed his job wasn't just to free himself, but to free everyone. He was waiting for a sign from God. So Nat wasn't waiting for the right time to act. He was literally waiting for a signal from the sky. And in 1831, he got one. First, in February, a solar eclipse happened, and for Nat Turner, this was IT. This was God's green light. He told 4 of his most trusted friends, and they started planning. They even picked the 4th of July to start it. Talk about sending a message. But then Nat got sick, so they had to delay. Weeks went by, you'd think he'd give up, but nope. He was just waiting for one final sign from the Almighty. And he got it on August 13th. The sun turned a weird blue-green color because of some volcano dust thousands of miles away. To anyone else, it was just weird weather. To Nat Turner, it was the final go-ahead. On the night of Sunday, August 21st, he and his crew had a final meal because they were about to start a holy war. There was no going back now. At 2 a.m. on August 22nd, the rebellion started. They went straight to the house of the guy who legally owned Nat Turner. With axes and hatchets, they went inside and killed the entire family while they slept. He later said he struck the first blow himself. They even killed a baby in its cradle. This was total war. From there, they moved from house to house, killing every white person they could find to create chaos and stop anyone from raising an alarm. They weren't using guns, they were using farm tools, the exact same things they were forced to work with every single day. In just a few hours, their army grew from 7 guys to over 50. This group of enslaved and free black men, now mostly on horseback, was storming the countryside. At one house, Nat Turner himself killed a woman named Margaret Whitehead with a fence post. But the plan wasn't perfect. At some of the biggest plantations, most slaves were too terrified to join. They knew what would happen if this failed. At one farm, the slaves actually hid their owner from Nat's army. This wasn't the giant uprising Nat was hoping for. For almost 2 full days, they terrified a huge part of Virginia. They killed between 55 and 65 people. To this day, it is the deadliest slave revolt in U.S. history. But the response was coming, and it was coming fast. White militias got together, and they had way more men and way more guns. The rebels were headed to a town called Jerusalem, but they were stopped. The rebellion was crushed in less than 48 hours. The rebellion was over, but Nat Turner was gone. He literally vanished into the woods, and for the next 2 months, nobody could find him. This made the white population panic even more. They thought he was getting ready for round 2. And while Nat was hiding, the revenge was brutal. White mobs went crazy, killing at least 100, maybe even 200 black people. They didn't care if they were rebels or not. They tortured people and even put the heads of executed black people on poles to send a terrifying message. The government itself executed up to 56 more people accused of being part of the rebellion. Finally, after 2 months, a farmer found Nat hiding in a cave under a log. His escape was over. He was arrested and taken to jail in the exact same town he tried to take over. While he was there, a lawyer interviewed him. And that interview is basically the only reason we know his side of the story. But we have no idea how much of it is true, or if the lawyer twisted his words to make him sound like a fanatic. His trial was a joke. He pled not guilty, still saying he was doing God's work. Of course, he was found guilty and sentenced to die. On November 11th, 1831, Nat Turner was hanged. And to try and erase him from history completely, they desecrated his body in the most horrific way imaginable. But killing Nat Turner didn't end the story. In fact, it started something way, way darker. Because they were so scared, states all across the South passed insane new laws. It was now illegal to teach any black person, slave or free, how to read or write. They banned black people from having their own church services without a white person watching. Slavery just got a million times worse. Politically, it was a disaster. There was actually a debate in Virginia about possibly ending slavery. But this rebellion killed that conversation instantly. The South didn't just defend slavery anymore, they started saying it was a good thing. But while the South was freaking out, the North was paying attention. This rebellion showed everyone that the enslaved were not happy and that the whole system could explode at any second. In black communities, Nat Turner became a legend, a symbol of fighting back no matter what. 30 years before the Civil War even started, Nat Turner had already declared war. His rebellion was a preview of the insane, bloody war that was coming to finally purge America of slavery. He was a guy who thought God was talking to him, and what he did literally changed the course of history. This story is absolutely insane, and it's a huge part of American history that you have to know. It proves that calling someone a hero or a villain is never that simple. If you learned something new in this video, slap that like button and subscribe right now so you don't miss our next video. And I want to know what you guys think. What is Nat Turner's legacy today? Let me know respectfully in the comments.